You ever feel like the whole world is watching you, judging you, expecting you to be something you're not? Every time you post, every time you share, every time you let people into your life, there's this silent pressure, a pressure to prove, to impress, to be seen. But let me tell you something, true happiness isn't found in likes, comments, or the validation of others. It's found in peace. It's found in privacy. It's found in the moments that no one else sees. We live in a time where oversharing is normal, where people think they're entitled to know everything about you. But here's the truth: your life is yours, not a reality show, not a highlight reel for strangers, not an open book for people who don't even care about your well being. Protecting your privacy isn't about hiding. It's about keeping your joy sacred. It's about choosing peace over performance. It's about knowing that the most beautiful, powerful, and fulfilling moments in life don't need an audience. And today, we're going to talk about why a private life is a happy life. Why protecting your energy, your relationships, and your dreams will set you free. But before we dive into that, let me say this: not everyone deserves access to you. Let that sink in for a moment. We live in a world where we've been conditioned to believe that we owe people explanations, updates, and constant access to our lives. That somehow, if we're not sharing, we're hiding something. If we're private, we must be secretive or dishonest. But that's a lie. The truth is, access to your life is a privilege, not a right, and not everyone deserves that privilege. Think about your energy, your time, and your mental well-being. Every time you let someone in, you're sharing a piece of yourself. Every conversation, every interaction, every social media post, it all requires energy. And if you're not careful, you'll find yourself drained, exhausted, and overwhelmed by people who were never meant to be that close to you in the first place. Because here's the thing: not everyone who watches you supports you. Not everyone who asks about your life cares about your well being. Some people are just curious. Some people just want information. And some people want ammunition. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
That coworker who pretends to be interested in your personal life only to turn around and gossip about it. That friend who always wants to know what's going on with you, but never really celebrates your wins. The family member who constantly oversteps, making you feel guilty for keeping things to yourself. They don't deserve access to you. But too often, we give it to them anyway.
Mm.
We overshare, we open up, we give people more than they've earned. And then we wonder why we feel so exposed, why we feel drained, why we feel like our lives are being picked apart by people who don't even have our best interests at heart. It's because we've let too many people in. And the hard truth: some people aren't meant to know your business. Some people don't deserve to hear your dreams, your struggles, your successes, or your failures, because not everyone will respect them. Not everyone will support them. And not everyone will handle them with care. You need to start asking yourself, who truly deserves access to me? The people who pour into you, the ones who celebrate you in private, not just in public, the ones who don't need an explanation for your boundaries because they already respect them, the ones who don't make you feel guilty for choosing peace over performance. Because when you limit access, you gain control. Control over your energy, control over your emotions, control over the narrative of your life. You stop feeling the need to explain yourself. You stop feeling drained by the opinions of people who don't even matter.
Well,
You stop wasting time trying to prove yourself to people who will never be satisfied anyway. And let me tell you something: when you start protecting your peace, some people won't like it. They'll call you distant. They'll say you've changed. They'll make you feel like you're doing something wrong.
oh,
But you're not. You're just setting a boundary. And boundaries are not walls, they're filters.
they're filters.
They don't keep out love, they keep out chaos. They don't block connection, they block toxicity. They don't make you cold, they make you wise. So stop feeling guilty for protecting yourself. Stop feeling guilty for saying a no to energy draining conversations, unnecessary drama, and people who only show up when they need something. Your peace is worth more than their curiosity. Your energy is too valuable to be wasted on people who don't uplift you. Your happiness is too sacred to be put on display for people who don't even genuinely care. Not everyone deserves access to you. And the moment you accept that, you take back control of your life. Happiness grows in silence. Drama thrives in exposure. Let that sit with you for a second. In today's world, where everything is shared, posted, and broadcasted, we've lost the value of keeping things to ourselves. We've been conditioned to believe that if something good happens, it must be shared immediately. If we achieve something, the world needs to know. If we're in love, it has to be displayed. But the truth, the best things in life grow when they are protected. Think about a seed. When you plant it, you don't dig it up every day to show people the roots. You don't expose it to the world too soon because you know it needs time to grow underground. It needs protection from the elements, space to develop, and the right conditions to flourish. Your happiness is the same way. The things that bring you joy, fulfillment, and true peace don't need constant validation from the outside world. In fact, exposing them too soon, sharing too much too fast, can often kill them before they even have a chance to grow. How many times have you shared good news only to be met with jealousy, doubt, or unnecessary opinions? How many times have you told people about your goals, your dreams, your plans, only to feel the weight of their skepticism or negative energy? How many times have you let too many people into your happiness only to have it questioned, criticized, or even sabotaged? Because here's the truth. Not everyone claps when you win.
You're right.
Not everyone is happy for you. Not everyone wants to see you succeed. And not everyone deserves to be part of your joy. Some people just want to be informed, not inspired. Some people are waiting to see if you fail. Some people act supportive, but deep down, they hope you don't get too far ahead of them. And when you expose too much, you open the door to negativity, opinions, and energy that can drain the very happiness you worked so hard to build. Look at the happiest, most fulfilled people you know. They don't broadcast every move they make. They don't seek validation for their joy. They protect it. They nurture it. They let it grow in silence. It's not about being secretive. It's about being selective, because happiness isn't loud. It's not something that needs to be proven. It's not something that needs an audience. True happiness is contentment. It's peace. It's knowing that you don't need the world's approval to enjoy your life. Now, let's talk about the other side of this, drama. Drama feeds on attention. It thrives on exposure. It needs an audience. That's why people who love drama always want to involve as many people as possible. That's why arguments escalate when too many people are involved. That's why gossip spreads, because it needs ears to listen and mouths to repeat it. But here's the thing, when you stop giving drama exposure, it dies. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how some people will try to stir things up, but the moment you refuse to engage, the fire goes out? The moment you stop reacting, stop explaining, stop defending, stop giving them the energy they crave, it all fades away. Because drama can't survive without fuel. And the biggest fuel? Attention. That's why private people are often the most peaceful people. They don't get caught up in unnecessary arguments. They don't entertain gossip. They don't feel the need to explain themselves to people who don't even matter. They move in silence. They protect their energy. They understand that not everything needs a reaction. Here's something powerful. The more you protect your peace, the more people will try to test you. They'll poke at you. They'll try to pull you into their chaos. They'll get frustrated that you're not engaging. But that's when you know you're doing something right. Because when you stop giving drama a stage, it has nowhere to perform. And when you stop broadcasting your happiness, it has a chance to grow. So the next time something amazing happens in your life, ask yourself, do I really need to share this? Or can I just enjoy it? And next time someone tries to drag you into their negativity, ask yourself, do I need to respond? Or can I just walk away? Because happiness isn't found in proving anything to anyone. It's found in peace. And peace is something you protect, not perform. Your peace is worth more than their curiosity. Let that sink in for a moment. We live in a world where people feel entitled to know everything about you. They want to know what you're doing, who you're with, where you're going, what you're thinking, and for what? Just to satisfy their own curiosity. Just to have something to talk about. Just to feel like they're in the loop. But here's the truth. Your peace, your sanity, your happiness, they are worth far more than feeding someone's curiosity. Think about it. How many times have you felt pressured to explain yourself, to give details you didn't want to share? Justify your choices, your boundaries, your lifestyle just because someone asked? And how did it make you feel? Drained, exhausted, frustrated. Like your personal life was no longer your own. What happens when you prioritize other people's curiosity over your own well-being? Identity. Some people don't ask questions because they care. They ask because they're nosy, because they want information, not connection, because they want something to gossip about, to judge, to dissect. And the worst part, the more you give, the more they take. The moment you open the door, the moment you start explaining, they keep pushing. They want more details. They want more access. They want to dig deeper into your life. And before you know it, your peace is gone. You see, peace isn't just about avoiding conflict. It's about protecting your energy from unnecessary stress, unnecessary conversations, unnecessary drama. It's about knowing that not everyone who asks deserves an answer. And yet we feel guilty for keeping things to ourselves. We feel like we owe people explanations. If we don't respond to their questions, if we don't share every detail, we're being rude, distant, secretive. But let me tell you something.
Silence is power. Silence is choosing yourself over the expectations of others.
Silence is understanding that you don't owe anyone a look inside your life just because they're curious. Silence is knowing that your peace is sacred and it's not up for public consumption. But here's the tricky part. When you start protecting your peace, people will notice. They'll question why you've changed. They'll push harder. They'll make comments like, oh, why don't you tell me things anymore? Or I feel like you're hiding something. That's not your problem. You are not responsible for managing other people's feelings about your boundaries. Let me say that again. You are not responsible for managing other people's feelings about your boundaries. If someone gets upset because you're protecting your peace, that's a reflection of them, not you. It means they were benefiting from your lack of boundaries. It means they were used to having unrestricted access to you. It means they were more interested in their own curiosity than in your well-being. And that is exactly why you need to pull back. Because when you stop feeding people's curiosity, you start reclaiming your power. You start moving differently. You start feeling lighter. You stop carrying the weight of other people's expectations. And most importantly, you start living for yourself, not for their approval. And that is freedom. So the next time someone asks you a question, you don't feel comfortable answering, remember this. You don't have to respond. You don't have to explain. You don't have to justify your choices. A simple "I'd rather not talk about that" is enough. A simple smile and a change of subject is enough. A simple boundary is enough because at the end of the day, your peace is worth more than their curiosity. And once you realize that, you'll never let unnecessary conversations steal your energy again. The best moments in life don't need an audience. Let that sit with you for a second. We live in a world that thrives on performance. A world where happiness is measured in likes, where love is proved through posts, and where success isn't real unless it's announced. But let me ask you something. If no one saw it, if no one knew about it, would it still matter to you? Because that's the real test. The truth is, the best, most meaningful, most fulfilling moments of your life will happen when no one is watching. The quiet moments, the small victories, the personal breakthroughs, the private laughter with people who truly matter. And yet, so many of us feel this pressure to share, to prove, to let the world see what we're doing, who we're with, how happy we are. We take beautiful, sacred moments and rush to post them as if their value increases when other people witness them. But what if I told you the opposite is true? What if I told you that some moments lose their magic the second they're shared? Think about the last time you had a moment of pure joy. Maybe it was sitting in silence, watching the sunrise with someone you love. Maybe it was a deep, meaningful conversation that left you feeling understood. Maybe it was the feeling of accomplishing something you've worked for, that quiet pride when no one was around to congratulate you. Now, imagine if, in that moment, you paused and thought, I need to share this. Something shifts, doesn't it? The second you pull out your phone, the second you frame it for an audience, it becomes less about the moment and more about the perception of it. It's no longer just for you, it's for them. And when you do that too often, you start living for the audience instead of for yourself. But here's what I need you to understand. Not everything needs to be seen. Some things are too special to be turned into content. Some things are too sacred to be diluted by outside opinions. Some things are meant to be held close, kept safe, experienced fully without worrying about how they look to other people. Because when you let go of the need to share, you start to experience life differently. Your relationships become deeper when they're not a performance for others, for others. Your happiness feels more real when it doesn't rely on outside validation. Your successes feel more personal when they don't need an audience's applause. And the irony, the people who are truly at peace, the ones who are truly happy, aren't the ones broadcasting their joy. They're the ones simply living it. They're not proving, they're not performing, they're not seeking validation, they're just present. And that's what makes their happiness real. So the next time you feel the urge to share, to prove, to announce, pause. Ask yourself, am I doing this for me or for them? Because the best moments in life don't need an audience. They just need to be lived. Privacy protects your energy from unnecessary negativity. Read that again. In a world where oversharing is the norm, where people broadcast every detail of their lives, and where opinions are freely given, your privacy is your power. It's the shield that keeps you safe from unnecessary stress, unwanted drama, and the negativity that comes when too many people have access to your personal life. How many times have you shared something exciting, an achievement, a relationship, a dream, only to be met with skepticism, jealousy, or unsolicited advice? How many times have you opened up about your plans only for someone? That's because not everyone who listens is supporting you. Some people just want information, not connection. Some people listen just so they can talk about you later. And some people, whether intentionally or not, bring negativity into your space simply by being in it. Here's the hard truth. The more access you give, the more energy you lose. Every time you share a piece of your life, you're inviting energy in. And not all energy is good energy. Some people will support you, but others will question you. Some will celebrate you, but others will find reasons to doubt you. Some will lift you up, but others will drain you without you even realizing it. That's why privacy isn't just about keeping secrets. It's about protecting your energy. It's about choosing peace over performance. It's about knowing that not everyone deserves a front row seat to your life. It's about keeping your dreams, your relationships, your happiness safe from the weight of other people's opinions. Because here's what happens when you protect your privacy. Your energy stays pure. When you keep your dreams to yourself, you don't have to fight against negativity before they even begin. When you keep your relationships private, you don't have to deal with outside influences that create unnecessary doubt. When you keep your personal growth to yourself, you don't have to justify your changes to people who don't understand them. You simply live, you simply grow, you simply become. And the best part, you get to move in peace, no explanations, no defending yourself. No exhausting conversations about why you're doing what you're doing. Just quiet, steady, powerful growth. But here's the challenge. When you start protecting your privacy, some people won't like it. They'll question why you've become so private. They'll feel entitled to know your business. They'll try to guilt you into sharing more. But you don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your energy. You don't have to justify your boundaries. You don't have to explain why you're choosing peace over performance. You don't have to defend your right to live a life that isn't constantly on display. Because at the end of the day, privacy isn't about shutting people out. It's about letting the right people in. It's about making sure that the energy in your life is good, pure, and aligned with who you are becoming. So if you've been feeling drained, overwhelmed, or constantly weighed down by other people's opinions, take a step back. Ask yourself, am I protecting my energy or am I giving too much of it away? Because your energy is sacred. Your peace is sacred. Your peace is sacred. Your happiness is sacred. Sometimes the best way to protect them is simple. Keep more to yourself. The less they know, the less they can interfere. Let that sink in. We live in a time where people feel entitled to know every detail of your life. They want to know what you're doing, who you're with, what your next move is, and sometimes even how much you're struggling. And why?
Yeah, because information gives them power. It gives them something to talk about.
It gives them the ability to judge, to criticize, to form opinions they were never invited to have in the first place. And in some cases, it gives them the opportunity to interfere, whether intentionally or not. You've probably experienced this before. Maybe you shared exciting news about a new relationship only for someone to start questioning if the person is really right for you. Think about the happiest, most peaceful people you know. They don't broadcast every move they make. They don't seek validation from the outside world. They move in silence. They choose their circle wisely. They don't let just anyone into their space, their plans, or their personal lives. And there's a reason for that. Because the moment you start filtering who gets access to you, your life changes. Suddenly, you're not drained by unnecessary conversations. You're not constantly explaining yourself. You're not dealing with the weight of other people's opinions. You're simply living for yourself, not for the audience. But let's be real. Some people won't like this change. They'll make you feel guilty. They'll call you secretive, distant, or even arrogant. But their reaction is not your problem. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. Because here's what you need to understand. When you stop giving unlimited access, the only people who complain are the ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries. They're upset because they can no longer invade your space whenever they please. They're frustrated because they can no longer manipulate your emotions. They're uncomfortable because they can no longer monitor your every move. And that's exactly why you need to keep protecting your energy. Because the right people, the ones who truly respect you, support you, and value you, won't feel entitled to access. They will respect your boundaries. They will understand that your life is yours to share on your own terms. And those are the people who deserve a place in your life. So from now on, ask yourself this: does this person truly deserve access to me? Do they uplift me, or do they drain me? Do they respect my boundaries, or do they constantly cross them? Do they bring peace into my life, or do they bring stress and chaos? Because access to you is a privilege, not a right. And once you realize that, you'll never let just anyone into your space again. Your happiness doesn't need validation. Think about that for a second. How many times have you felt the need to prove your happiness? How often have you shared good news only to wait for approval? How many times have you held back your joy because you were afraid of how others might react? We live in a world where people crave validation. Social media has trained us to measure happiness in likes, comments, and reactions. We've been conditioned to believe that our wins don't count unless others recognize them, that our relationships aren't real unless we post them, that our success isn't valid unless people see it. But let me ask you this: if no one saw it, would it still matter to you? Because that's the real test. True happiness isn't something that needs to be proved. It's not something that needs to be announced, shared, or displayed for others to believe in it. True happiness is quiet. It's personal. It's felt, not flaunted. And the moment you realize that you take your power back, you no longer feel the need to explain yourself. You no longer care about outside opinions. You stop waiting for approval because you understand that your happiness is for you, not for them. But here's where it gets tricky. Not everyone wants to see you happy. Some people will pretend to support you, but deep down, they want you to stay the same. They want you to stay small, uncertain, and dependent on their validation. They want to be the ones who tell you when you're doing well, because that gives them power over you. And when you stop seeking their approval, when you start being happy on your own terms, they'll question it. They'll downplay it. They'll say things like, "You've changed. You think you're better than us now. Are you sure you're really happy?" Because if they can make you doubt your happiness, they can pull you back into the place where they were comfortable with you. A place where they had influence over your emotions, where their words could shake you, where their opinions mattered more than your own feelings. And that's exactly why you have to stand firm, because your happiness is not up for debate. You don't need to prove it. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to defend it. You just need to live it. And when you do that, when you let go of the need for validation, you'll feel lighter. You'll stop over explaining. You'll stop oversharing. You'll stop looking for reactions that don't actually matter. You'll just be at peace because you'll finally understand that your happiness is real, even if no one claps for it. So from now on, remind yourself, I don't need their approval to be happy. Because the moment you stop seeking validation, you step into real freedom. Peace comes when you stop explaining yourself. Let that sink in. How much energy have you wasted trying to make people understand you? How many times have you found yourself justifying your decisions, your boundaries, your happiness, just to satisfy someone else's curiosity? How often have you felt the need to explain why you're doing what you're doing, even when deep down you knew you didn't owe anyone an explanation? It's exhausting, isn't it? That's because every time you explain yourself to someone who isn't entitled to that explanation, you're giving away a piece of your peace. You're opening the door for unnecessary opinions, for judgment, for conversations that do nothing but drain your energy. And the truth is, most people don't actually want to understand you. They just want to challenge you. They want to pick apart your decisions. They want to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. They want to feel like they have a say in your life. And the moment you engage, you give them power. Because when you explain yourself, you're subconsciously asking for approval. You're giving them permission to validate or invalidate your choices. You're making space for their opinions, even when they don't deserve a seat at your table. But here's the thing. You don't need permission to live your life. You don't need to explain why you're setting boundaries. You don't need to justify why you've changed. You don't need to defend your happiness, your peace, or your success. You just need to live. Live. Because the reality is, the people who truly respect you won't require an explanation. They won't question your choices. They won't guilt trip you for protecting your peace. They won't demand to know every detail of your life. They'll trust that you know what's best for you. And the ones who don't, they were never really on your side to begin with. So why waste your energy explaining yourself to people who are only looking for reasons to judge you? Why keep engaging in conversations that only bring stress and self-doubt? Why continue seeking understanding from people who have already decided they don't want to understand you?
The moment you stop explaining, you free yourself. You free yourself from unnecessary conversations. You free yourself from the weight of outside opinions.
You free yourself from the exhausting cycle of trying to prove yourself to people who don't even matter. And suddenly, life becomes quieter, simpler, more peaceful. Because real peace isn't found in being understood. It's found in understanding that you don't need to be. A private life is a powerful life. Let that sink in. In a world that glorifies oversharing, privacy has become rare. Everywhere you turn, people are posting their every move, every thought, every feeling, as if their life isn't complete until it's been validated by an audience. But here's what most people don't realize. The more you keep to yourself, the more power you hold. You don't think about the most successful, peaceful, and grounded people you know. Do they constantly announce their plans before they happen? Do they broadcast every personal struggle? Do they invite unnecessary opinions into their decisions? No, they move in silence. They build quietly. They protect their energy, their relationships, and their peace. And because of that, they remain in control of their own life. Because the moment you make everything public, you give the world a say in your life. And let's be honest, not everyone watching you is rooting for you. Some people are just waiting to see if you'll fail. Some people secretly envy what you have. Some people want to know just enough about you to tear you down later. And when you constantly share, you make their job easier. You give them access to your thoughts, your emotions, your dreams. You hand them the information they need to criticize you, to doubt you, to inject negativity into your space. You allow their energy, whether good or bad, to influence your path. And that's exactly why privacy is so powerful. Because when people don't know what you're doing, they can't interfere. When they don't know your next move, they can't sabotage it. When they don't know your struggles, they can't use them against you. You keep your energy protected. You keep your peace intact. You keep control over your own narrative. And the best part, you get to focus on actually living. And instead of performing for an audience, you experience life fully. Instead of explaining yourself, you make decisions with confidence. Instead of seeking approval, you trust yourself. You move how you want to move. You grow in ways that feel right to you. You create a life that isn't built for validation, but for fulfillment. And here's the irony. The less people know, the more they assume. They'll wonder why you're so private. They'll create their own stories about you. They'll be curious, intrigued, maybe even frustrated that they don't have access. And that's a good thing, because the moment people realize they can't figure you out, they lose the ability to control you. You're no longer predictable. You're no longer influenced by outside noise. You're no longer handing your power over to people who don't deserve it. You're just living quietly, strongly, powerfully, because a private life isn't just a happy life, it's a powerful one.